Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at these Zer's location, his random rolls, my recommendations, and all that whatnot for December 4th, 2020. You can find these Zer and his ready location on the EDZ. Just head over to the Winding Cove and make your way on top of this little mountain right here, and you can find these Zer right on the precipice. And this is a high overview in case this is all you cared about. And something that I did want to address, I oftentimes have a very common question of what particular item should I get? Should I go for weapons? Should I go for armor? Should I save up for the exotic engram? Should I go for the better stat rolls even if it's a character or class that I don't play on that much? Should I focus on trying to get extra power from my other characters? There's a lot of answers to a lot of these questions. My recommendation would be just get like 12,000 legendary shards and then you don't have to worry about it. And you can just buy as many of these as you want and just not care. Oh, I don't have enough room. Damn it! So obviously that's not a feasible or reasonable thing to do, but it's a difficult question to ask. It really depends what you want. If there's a particular weapon or armor that I think is really good, like a Celestial Nighthawk, Orpheus Rig, One-Eyed Mask, or, you know, Celestial Fire, Hamkara Gloves, whatever, I will mention it. Every single time I do the Zer video, I'm gonna mention what things are really, really worth it. So I guess my recommendation is just watch the Zer videos, which is obviously very biased, but it will tell you what you need to know. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the weapon. Today we have the Wardcliff Coil. I recently looked at one of the Discord bots and tried to take a look at how many kills I had with each type of weapon, and the Wardcliff Coil is still my #1 number of kills for heavy weapons. Now admittedly, I don't really use heavy weapons to get kills anymore. I mostly use it for boss and major damage, which makes a lot of sense, but I used the Wardcliff Coil prodigiously in year 1 of Destiny 2 when there was no special weapon, so I'd like to say this is one of my favorite weapons of all time. That being said, I think that a lot of this weapon is most useful in PvP these days. I put it at #2 in PvP on my last top 10 for PvP heavies, and honestly it's probably gonna get around the same spot again. The one big issue is the fact that it is an exotic, and a lot more primary exotics have come out of the woodworks this season, so it may drop because of that. But either way, this weapon is still an amazing weapon. It's still a shotgun rocket that kills literally everything between you and mid-range, including supers, including barriers, rifts, overshield people. It kills everything outside of a Titan bubble. And on top of that, it also has a catalyst, which I believe comes from either strikes or crucible, that increases the tracking of the Wardcliff Coil rockets. If you don't have the Wardcliff Coil, I would highly recommend you pick it up, because not only is it good for PvP, it's also a very fun weapon. Moving on to the Hunter exotic today, we have the Graviton Forfeit. One of my favorite looking exotics in the game. Came out with Destiny 1 that gave the hunters a dodge, and then in Destiny 2 they're like, no. Give every one of the hunters a dodge, that's their thing. If you've never heard of the changed version, the Vanishing Shadow increases the duration of any invisibility effects, including your smoke bomb, your dodge, anything that you do, as well as your weapons, so including Rat King and all that whatnot, and while you're invisible, your melee charges faster. The idea here is that it's focused around Wave the Pathfinder, using your smoke bomb to make you invisible, which makes your smoke bomb recharge faster, and you are invisible for a longer period of time. Great to use with Rat King as well, because it makes that longer as well. My opinion, this is a great exotic for soloing things. If you want to solo certain dungeons, this is going to be a popular exotic. Alternatively, you can use 6 Coyote if you want to do Gambler's Dodge and have invisibility that way. However, they did nerf dodge with this season to make it so you can't use it as frequently as you could before. So who knows, maybe Graviton Forfeit's going to be the new solo item for hunters, or just in general. I would recommend you pick that up if you don't have it. Oh, and I forgot there's an ornament that, well, I like the original, but anyways, as far as the roll goes, you'd like to see a lot of mobility, a lot of strength, and a lot of recovery. Has a pretty good amount of recovery, an okay amount of mobility, and honestly, I would like to see more strength, but overall, it's still a pretty good roll, pretty good stat total, not a lot of resilience, and I would recommend you pick it up if you haven't gotten it already. Moving on to the Titan exotic, we have the Citan's Ramparts. Sorry, my cat was meowing a storm, so I chased him into the closet. I kind of just got up and just stared at him, and he ran. This cat is super skittish, and he's just staring at me from inside the closet, not knowing what to do. Oh, I kind of feel bad now, but he deserved it. He's meowing up a storm. Anyways, the Titan exotic, Citan's Ramparts. This is actually an interesting and useful exotic. If you've never heard of it, you and your allies can shoot through your towering barricade, which has reduced health and duration. The main idea of this exotic is mostly going to be used in trials or limited game modes where you want to have a safe sniper perch where you can pick off an enemy and then rush the rest of the team. Outside of that, however, it's one of those things where you're kind of locked down to a specific location and oftentimes can be kind of boring or kind of a waste. And in PvE, it has very little application. As far as the role goes for this particular exotic, obviously you'd like to see a lot more resilience because it is heavily based on using your class ability. Outside of that, good amount of recovery, and it also has both of them. So I would like to say, as far as this exotic synergy goes, pretty good synergy, decent stat roll overall. However, the total stats is something that I would like a little bit more of. And don't you worry, you can in fact color it so that you can make it look not like this weird color. Well, maybe it's always gonna be weird. You know, I just realized what this looks like. This looks like where you seat the RAM on your motherboard. You just want to pop in that 8GB G skill right in there. Yeah, that's what this is. And finally, for the Warlock exotic today, we have the Verity's Brow. This is it's a weird exotic. I go back and forth on it a lot because it's so simple, it's so universal. It is a literal benefit, but I always feel like it's just not enough to want to use over other exotic. If you've never heard of it before, oh my god, that's a freaking paragraph, and from what I understand, they've also made changes to this exotic as well. The main perk, Fourth Magic, energy weapon kills grant death throws, which provide a bonus to damage of your grenades and grant you grenade energy. When you have death throws and you throw a grenade, nearby allies greatly increase grenade regeneration for a short time. So the idea here is if you're using an energy primary or you're getting a lot of energy-based kills and you really like your grenade, i.e. pulse grenades, solar grenades, or whatever grenade you're using, this can be something that could be quite useful. The big problem is it doesn't really feel like that much. I haven't tested how much extra damage you get. I'm very much a fan of the Controverse Holds bonus damage, so if it's anywhere near that amount, which I honestly doubt because it's universal, it might be something that's really nice. However, on pretty much every type of class, I have an alternative. If I want to use Arc, I like Crown of Tempest or Geomax. If I like to use Void, I go for Controverse Hold or the Nezarec Sin. If I'm using Solar, I like to go Lunafaction Boots or the Phoenix Protocol. You know, I have a lot of different options. It doesn't really feel like this fits outside of, you know, regular Dawnblade. As far as the role goes, I would like to see a lot of discipline, which it doesn't really have, a lot of recovery just because it's very useful for this exotic, and not a lot of resilience, and really, it doesn't really have any of that. So I would say a pretty poor role for an exotic that's maybe average. But hey, you can color it. Well, you can color most of it. Outside of that, make sure you're picking up your exotic cipher quest, which I've already picked up in my inventory. That's why I don't have it. But this exotic cipher quest allows you to get more exotic ciphers if you want to get more engrams from the Zur, or you want to get more of the exotics from the archive. You can do that. Also, make sure you're picking up your exotic engrams if you want an exotic that you've never received before, and an exotic that has a high stat roll. I believe I got strongholds last time, which makes me very disappointed. But every single exotic you get from the ground or from Zur has a high stat total, which, you know, is really nice to see. Alright, well, that's going to be the end of the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, concerns, tips, tricks, or something I missed. Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, make sure you come check out my live streams that I have right after these Zur videos, my reset videos, and all the other times you can see on screen. For the most part, we're going to be still going for those power grinds, making sure all my characters are as high as possible, either doing raids, powerful gear, all that whatnot. So come join us. Usually it's going to be open lobbies and all that whatnot. But yeah. That's going to be the end of the video. My name's been Dychronic, and I will see you guys on the next one. Woo! How does it feel? Your life being stripped away from you, frozen in the void, with no ability to stop it. Oh, must feel like that.